Finally, we are coming to an end of this lecture, Fundamentals of Entrepreneurship, MKTG 306. We've tried to understand what entrepreneurship is. We've tried to look at how do you register a business. We've tried to look at how do you now enter into the market and start. Do you start from the scratch? Do you buy an existing business? Do you do a franchise or you do a licensing agreement? What do you want to encourage you is that this course is as practical as it gets. This course is particularly important because as an entrepreneur or as a student, many people think that, look, jobs are out there. But the truth is that the jobs are no longer out there. We encourage you to use the knowledge that you have gained from this course to be able to start something on your own. This is because several students graduate from their universities every year, and yet what awaits them is graduate unemployment. Now, some statistics have said that the most recent one has said that, look, when people graduate from their university, just about 10% get employed, and then 90% stay home. Why won't you start a business from the knowledge and skills that you have gained and the competence that you have gained from this course? Entrepreneurship is absolutely important for national development. And we are pushing forward that, look, the government should, day in, day out, should be able to put in measures and policies to enable young people to be able to start their own businesses as a career option. So we can actually look at entrepreneurship as a career option as well. It's important for us to also mention that globally, entrepreneurship is a phenomenon that is actually taking the lead now. Universities across the globe and nations across the globe are all pushing for entrepreneurship to be encouraged. And so if you are watching this video, I see you as a potential entrepreneur. And I believe that the knowledge that you have gained from this course, which is being managed by Dr. Samuel Boame and Tay Shelter, as we conclude in this particular session, we hope that you take a step to start something. We hope that you will not graduate and be part of the unemployed graduates. We hope that if you are having your own job, you can work for some experience, you can work and learn something, but you can also start and create a business that can employ people as well. You don't need to quit your current work to start a business. You can start by the side and provide employment for someone else. It is absolutely important for us to engage in entrepreneurship. And this course that you have gone through, you need to be able to practice everything. And let me just remind you that one of the key things about this course is that you are going to write a business plan and submit the business plan. You are going to work in groups, and the groups could probably be groups of 5 to somewhere around 10, depending on the center that you are and how the discussions on Sakai and the discussions with your tutor would go. But you are going to form a group, you are going to create a company, and this company is going to be created as well. For the multiple choice exams that you are going to do for your IA, all the links that have been provided in the class, all the links that have been provided in the sessions, and all the reading materials and all the videos are examinable as well. So I encourage you to watch all the videos. I encourage you to read all the links so that you don't get to blame anybody. All the things we've discussed are absolutely important, and even for the final exam as well. So we've learned about how to start a business. We've learned about how to run a business. We've learned about how to understand the environment that you are in. Having all this knowledge, everything that has a beginning has an end. And as we bring the class to an end, we want to talk about how businesses also bring themselves to an end. or how entrepreneurs bring their businesses to an end. And therefore, we are going to discuss business exit strategies. Let me pause.
Let me give you what do you what is the code for water?
Okay, it's okay. I'll just finish it up. So, it's absolutely important for you to understand that entrepreneurship is the engine of growth. Let's remember what David McClellan said. McClellan said that the development of a nation is a reflection of the entrepreneurs that there are in the nation. It means that the more entrepreneurs there are in the nation, the more developed the nation will be. The fewer entrepreneurs there are in the nation, the less developed the nation will be. And so you need to understand this, and we want to encourage you to be an entrepreneur. The point is that if you have more entrepreneurs in Ghana, a lot of the solutions that we have, a lot of the problems that we have can be solved with homegrown solutions. We've come to understand that entrepreneurs are problem solvers. And there are so many problems in our country. Every problem is a potential business opportunity. And Dr. Boame said in the earlier video that the market is never saturated. The market is never saturated. The market is never saturated. We have been drinking water for several years as human beings. You should ask yourself, in the past 20 years, how have you been drinking water? There were times where you used to buy water from a bucket in a cup, and that cup can be used to serve so many people. We moved on to what we call the penny depending, in tying rubber, tying the water in some kind of rubber. Then we moved on to the sachet, we've moved on to the bottles, we moved on to the dispensers. The point is that if the market is saturated, why do we still have a lot of people producing water? The market is never saturated. But the most critical question is that how are you going to be buying water in the future? In the next 10 years, in the next 20 years, in the next 50 years, are we going to be drinking water the same way we are? Possibly the answer is no. And if you are looking for solutions like that, and if you look at the things that we produce in our country, cocoa is in the raw state, mostly. But we can produce a lot of jobs and a lot of businesses along the value chain of cocoa. The crops, most of the crops that we produce in this country, just in the raw state, we don't add value. So I challenge you to take some products in this country and just add a little value to it. And you see what can happen to this world and to this nation. Someone has taken ordinary cocoa and made it Cocoa King and is running a whole business out of it. The question is, what can you do? What can you do with all the knowledge that you have gained from this course? Now, I want to dive into the final session, which is business exit strategies. And like we know, everything that has a beginning has an end. Everything that starts has a point of exit. And as we exit this particular lecture on this note of the 12th session, we find it appropriate to discuss business exit strategies. So on behalf of Dr. Samuel Boame and on behalf of myself, we want you to enjoy this final lecture on how to exit a business and some of the strategies that you can employ having built your business to exit the business. I hope you have fun with this section. So in this session, we are going to look at two key things. The first one having been how businesses exit, and the second one will be transgenerational entrepreneurship, or what we call succession planning, or what we call generational shift. These are all terminologies that we use to refer to one thing. That is, how does one business pass on the baton from the current generation to the next? So we'll look at 5 or 6 business exit strategies, and then we'll look at some issues with regards to transgenerational entrepreneurship, or what we call succession planning. What is a business exit strategy? I'm not too sure what you're thinking about. And recently in the news, there are so many businesses that have exited. How did they exit? Possibly you've not been paying attention. And one of the key things about this course is that you need to read wide and understand how businesses are working across the globe, particularly in Africa, but certainly across the globe as well. Essentially, when we look at business exit strategies, they are how businesses, you could say, turn around, or how businesses, not probably turn around, but how do businesses leave the scene, or how do entrepreneurs leave the scene? The first point is liquidation. So one of the key business exit strategies is liquidation. And so many businesses liquidate every now and then. And this means that the business actually closed down. There's no business activity again. And all the assets that the business has will be sold to defray the cost if there is any. And if the business is indebted to another business or another entity or just individuals, you would have to defray the cost and to pay those people first before the shareholders of the business might get anything. So some businesses liquidate, and recently we had some news about some foreigners who had liquidated their company and actually declared bankruptcy. And it was said, I think, a very high profile celebrity in this world, very high profile celebrity, said his business was bankrupt. And yet it was being said that that person had stashed some money somewhere that he had received from the business, or some proceeds from the business. So with regards to liquidation, when you sell off your assets and all of that, all those that you are owing, you should make sure you pay them first. You don't hide the money. And this means that you've closed shop as a business. You are no longer in business. The business will be struck out from the Registrar General's Department's record. And essentially, you could say it's the death of the business. And to liquidate something means to make it much more liquid, right? You are turning the assets into cash. That's what I mean by liquid. So you are turning those assets into cash, you are paying people off, and you are out of business. That's one route an entrepreneur can take. Depending on the situation that you find yourself, one route will probably work better than the other. The next thing is what a lot of people want to do in Ghana. They want to keep the business in the family. They want to make it a family-run business or a family-owned business. And there are so many entrepreneurs who have started doing that. And as the entrepreneur sees that, look, he's growing old, he wants to groom his son, he wants to groom his daughter to take over the business. And there are countless enterprises in Ghana that have started doing that, grooming people, grooming their sons, grooming their daughters to take part in the business. That's the second thing, keeping the business in the family. The third thing is to sell the business to employees. And some entrepreneurs are so passionate about their business that they want to sell to people who really understand the business. And so instead of selling on the open market, as we will look at, they would rather sell to key employees who understand the business. Key employees who see that, look, the business has a future and who are very enthusiastic about the business. Key employees who are passionate and have demonstrated some kind of passion about the business and to seeing it go further. And people who have foresight that the entrepreneur has probably worked with and seen that, look, these guys are people who have foresight and these are gentlemen who can be able to take this business to a level that I couldn't probably envision myself as an entrepreneur. So some entrepreneurs might choose to sell their business to key employees as one key option. Now, this can always be a win-win arrangement because the employees have worked in the business for a long time. Some employees have actually worked in businesses for about 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. And the thought of them having to buy the business is a very refreshing one to them. And they get to benefit the sweat of their labor, as you would say it. The third one is selling on